contest where truth moves faster than a Holstein calf. No waiting on some pretty page. We're charting new ground in the digital age. From genomic codes to row-wide facts, we cut through the noise, no holding back. Not your daddy's dairy news tonight. We're sparking debates with every insight. The ring's not where the real fight's at. It's in the data, in the channel chat. From pasture to processor to your morning cup, we're raising the stakes. Try and get ahead of herd. Yeah! Where the future's more than just a word. Ahead of herd. Come on! The Bullvine's calling, let your voice be heard.
Welcome back to the Bullvine podcast. I'm your host, and today, picture this. The sun's beating down, the air is thick with anticipation at the fairgrounds. A young dairy judge, maybe a bit nervous but determined, steps into the reasons room. They take a deep breath, plant their feet, and for the next 2 minutes, they weave a tale. A tale of why they lined up those Holstein 4-year-olds just so. This isn't just about points in a contest, my friends. This is where the magic happens. This is where technical observation transforms into compelling argument. It's like watching a seasoned herdsman explain their breeding philosophy, or a top-notch nutritionist lay out why a ration change is going to make all the difference. That precision, that poise, that power to persuade, it's all being forged right there. But it gets me thinking, and I bet some of you too, are we squeezing every drop of educational goodness out of oral reasons? Or have we gotten so caught up in the formalities of competition that we've kind of lost sight of how these skills play out in the real world, on our farms, in our businesses? You see this scene play out year after year, from the smallest county fair to the grand stages of World Dairy Expo, from 4-H gatherings to the intense National Intercollegiate Dairy Cattle Judging Contest. Spectators might just see the cows and the ribbons, but those of us in the know, we understand that oral reasons, that's the proving ground for the next wave of articulate, analytical, and confident leaders in our dairy industry. So why is mastering oral reasons such a game changer for your dairy career? Well, let me tell you, it's huge. In most contests, those reasons are worth a whopping 50% of your total score. Think about that. Just as much as getting the placings right, it tells you something fundamental. Seeing what's in front of you is only half the journey. Being able to explain why and defend your observations, that's the other equally valuable half. I remember a veteran dairy science educator telling me, "Dairy judging teaches decision-making better than anything else I know. Oral reasons are necessary for that decision-making process." And he was spot on. It's a classic scenario. You identify a problem. Which cow is better? You explore alternatives, look at all their traits. You gather your information, make those keen observations, and then you make a final, defensible decision. And these skills, they don't just stay in the show ring. Talk to anyone who's been on a judging team. They tell you that making sharp observations, organizing thoughts under pressure, speaking confidently, and persuasively defending your choices, these are the golden tickets they've used throughout their professional lives. Whether you're a herd manager talking to your team about new protocols, or a dairy nutritionist explaining complex ration tweets to a producer, it's the same skill set. Dr. Les Hansen, a judging coach many of us respect immensely, often says, "Public speaking causes students to be concise and make a point. And isn't that what we need? Clear, effective communication is king." Whether you're running a farm, in veterinary practice, out in sales, consulting, you name it. Now, let's talk about what separates the good reasons from the truly outstanding ones. When I'm listening, or when any judge is, we're looking at two main things: content and delivery. Both are important, no doubt. But content, that's the heavyweight champion. You can have the smoothest, most eloquent delivery in the world, but if your observations are off or your analysis is weak, it's like having a state-of-the-art milking parlor, but your mastitis management is terrible. It just won't hold up. So, what makes for convincing content? First and foremost, accuracy above all. Veracity rate 3%. This is the golden rule, the one I preach constantly. Don't lie. Every single thing you say must be based on what you actually saw. If you didn't see it, don't invent it. It's like your DHI records. They need to show actual production, not what you wish the cows were giving. A seasoned judge can spot a fabricated difference a mile away, and your credibility, poof, gone. And here's a tough question we need to ask ourselves, especially at the youth levels. How many judges are out there feeling pressured to fill their time and just making stuff up, describing differences they didn't truly see just to sound detailed? One instructor put it bluntly, accuracy is the most important thing in a reason set. Your credibility is shot the moment you mention traits that aren't accurate to the animals. Next up, specific, detailed, and comparative language. Vague phrases like, she has a better udder or she shows nice dairy character, they just don't cut it. It's like telling a farmer to improve herd health without giving them any specific actions. Elite judges use language that paints a picture. Instead of cow 1 has a better udder than cow 2, you'll hear something like, one shows a higher, wider rear udder attachment that's more firmly attached, along with a stronger median suspensory ligament that creates more clearly defined halves, and a fore udder that blends more smoothly into the body wall compared to 2. See the difference? That level of detail, that's what we're looking for, like a comprehensive genomic analysis giving specific data, not just an overall rank. Then prioritize by importance. When you're comparing animals, you lead with the biggest, most obvious differences. That shows sound judgment. Now the PDCA Unified Scorecard gives us weightings. Udder 40%, dairy strength 25%, feet and legs 20%, frame 15%, and those are crucial. But your reasons need to reflect the actual cows in front of you. Just like a herd manager prioritizes daily tasks based on immediate needs, not a rigid checklist. A successful coach once told me, within each pair, you must start with the most important and obvious difference between the two cows. If two cows have similar udders, but one clearly excels in feet and legs, lead with that more apparent distinction rather than forcing an udder comparison. It doesn't mean you ignore the scorecard, but your initial attack on a pair should highlight the most glaring differences. The overall emphasis on traits like udder across the whole set should still reflect their fundamental importance, though. But again, let's be honest here. Have we become so fixated on those scorecard percentages that we're sometimes creating artificial hierarchies in our reasons, ones that don't truly reflect what we saw in the ring? Food for thought. And finally, for content, organize for clarity. A well-structured set of reasons flows logically, like a well-designed barn that makes cow flow easy. You know the standard format. Opening statement with your placing, then systematic comparisons, pair by pair, 1/2, 2/3, 3/4, remembering to give grants where lower-placed animals excel, and a neat conclusion. And within each pair, talk about all the udder traits, then all the dairy strength, then feet and legs. Don't jump around. This isn't just about making it easy for the judge to follow. It's showing you can organize information logically. A skill that's gold in any part of our industry, from breeding strategies to SOPs for your team. Now, this traditional structure, it's served us well for generations. It's a fantastic foundation, but I have to ask, is this rigid format always the best way to build the real-world communication skills our industry demands today? Think about it. Out in the commercial dairy world, you rarely get 2 minutes for a perfectly polished comparative monologue. You need to make your point and make it fast. A vet explaining treatment options, a sire analyst backing up their mating choices, a nutritionist defending a ration change, they need to be clear, persuasive, and efficient, often in 30 seconds or less. Are we sometimes training contestants to be so good at reciting a format that they struggle to adapt when they're not in that reasons room? The most successful pros I know can tailor their communication on the fly, whether they're talking high-level stuff with peers or simplifying things for someone less technical. This isn't about throwing out structure, not at all. It's about teaching the why behind the structure, so students can apply those principles flexibly. Maybe, just maybe, the next step in reasons training needs to include practice scenarios that feel more like those real-world, time-crunch moments. Let's talk about the lingo, mastering the language of champions. Our dairy industry has this incredibly rich, specific vocabulary for describing cow conformation. It allows us to pinpoint those subtle yet significant differences that really do impact how long a cow lasts and how much milk she'll put in the tank. The absolute heart of good reasons is comparative language. You're always comparing, never just describing. That comparison gives context. It shows you're making an evaluative judgment. It's like DHIR records. They're most useful when you see them compared within a herd, not just as standalone numbers. The easiest trick: use adjectives ending in "er." Taller, wider, deeper, sharper, cleaner. Or add more if doesn't work. More dairy, more capacious, more correct. And please avoid the word better like the plague if you can't specify how. Instead of one has a better udder, say one has a higher, wider rear udder attachment and a more strongly attached fore udder than two. Specificity is key. Let's run through some essential terms for each scorecard category. For udder, 40% of the score, you want terms like stronger fore udder attachment with less bulging at the quarter junctions. Higher rear udder attachment with the secretory tissue starting well above the hock. Deeper crease in her udder, indicating a stronger median suspensory ligament. Carries her udder higher above the hocks with more youthful suspension. More symmetry and balance of quarters with teats more centrally placed beneath each quarter. For dairy strength, 25%, think about capacity and efficiency. More angularity with a longer, leaner neck transitioning more smoothly into the shoulder. Cleaner about the head, neck, and withers with more defined bone structure. More open and well-sprung in her ribs with greater chest capacity. More incurving thigh providing evidence of adipose mobilization for milk production. Sharper over her top line while maintaining adequate width across the loin. But let's be honest again, and this is a tough one. How often do we see significant differences in these dairy strength traits that genuinely impact production, versus just finding small things to say to fit our placings? It's something to chew on. All right, let's rewind. Before you even step into that reasons room, there's the critical phase, ringside to reasons room, the note-taking process. This is your lifeline, folks. Good notes are the bridge between what you saw in the ring and what you say later. Without them, even the sharpest mind will forget those crucial comparative details. It's like a dairy farmer trying to make management decisions without good herd records. You're flying blind. So what should you be jotting down? Focus on the key differences that drove your placing decisions. Maybe start with something distinctive to identify each cow, the roan cow, tallest in class. Then, once you have a tentative placing, zero in on those major comparisons between your pairs. Biggest differences first. Be specific. And here's a hard truth many coaches might not shout from the rooftops. Great note-taking is often more valuable than a photographic memory. Trust me, even top judges can forget vital details in the hour or more between seeing the class and giving reasons. Your ability to capture the right observations, right then and there, often matters more than raw talent or how smooth a talker you are. Now, you've got your notes, your content is solid. Let's talk about delivering with impact, the performance aspect, because even the most accurate reasons can fall flat if the delivery isn't there. How you present yourself and your words massively influences how they're received and scored. It's like nutrition advice. The same info can land very differently depending on whether it's coming from a confident nutritionist or an uncertain rep. Project that confidence. Stand squarely, good posture, about 5 to 8 feet from the judge. Many like to clasp their hands behind their back. Keeps you from fidgeting. Your voice needs to be clear, distinct, and confident. Loud enough to be heard easily, but you're not shouting. Think of a respected herdsperson getting clear instructions that carry across the holding pen. And eye contact. Maintain it with the judge. It shows conviction. It builds a connection. But here's another uncomfortable reality we need to face. Do we sometimes reward an overly rehearsed, almost artificial delivery more than genuine knowledge and passion? Are we accidentally teaching students to be theatrical performers instead of articulate professionals? It's a fine line. So how do we get to that point of excellence? Training. Practice techniques that create champions. Mastering reasons takes dedicated practice. Just like developing a high-producing herd needs both top genetics and stellar management. One technique I absolutely love is repeat sets. You give your reasons for a class, get specific feedback, and then boom, you deliver them again, right away, incorporating those suggestions. It's an iterative process, and it works wonders for rapidly improving both content and delivery. That immediate application helps lock in good habits and fix errors before they stick. Kind of like immediately correcting milking technique to keep those somatic cell counts down. Another great tool, recording for self-assessment. Video or audio record your practice sessions. It lets you be your own objective critic. Look at your posture, eye contact, pacing, how you're using your terminology. I always tell my students to review recordings with different focuses. First for content organization, then for delivery, volume, enthusiasm, and then for specific word choices and transitions. This layered review helps isolate different parts for targeted improvement. Much like we analyze milk components, repro records, and health data separately to get the full picture of herd performance. And here's a practice technique that I think many coaches overlook. Have students deliver reasons in real-world scenarios. Get them to explain a class to someone who knows nothing about dairy in just 30 seconds. Or have them justify their placing to a skeptical farmer who completely disagrees. These exercises build an adaptability that formal contest prep often misses. Transition to a slightly more serious, analytical tone. Let's touch on common pitfalls and how to avoid them. Knowing the frequent mistakes helps everyone. Using better without specificity. We've hit this one, but it bears repeating. Swap it for specific comparatives. One is higher in the rear udder attachment, not one has a better rear udder. Just like specific breeding goals, like increasing component percentages, are way more useful than just improving the herd. Describing instead of comparing. Always compare directly. One is taller than two, not just one is a tall cow. Production records are most valuable in contemporary groups, right? Same idea. Disorganized flow. Stick to that standard structure, and within a pair, finish one trait category before moving on. Like a milking routine, consistent, logical sequence works best, and the most insidious pitfall of them all, in my opinion. Going through the motions without genuine understanding. I've seen too many contestants who can recite a perfect set of reasons, but don't truly grasp why the differences they're describing actually matter to a cow's function, her productivity, her longevity. So ask yourself, are you explaining real functional differences or just spitting back phrases you've been taught? The beauty of mastering oral reasons is that it goes so far beyond the contest. It shapes industry leaders, the structured decision-making, the defense of that placement. It cultivates critical thinking that applies everywhere, from picking replacement heifers to evaluating big farm investments. You're creating the complete professional. That concise, persuasive communication under pressure builds public speaking confidence that will serve you your entire career. As one industry pro put it, dairy judging teaches talking and interacting with people, working with others, being part of a team, having a boss or coach, working toward a common goal, and getting a job done. These are essential skills, whether you're managing a 5,000-cow dairy or consulting as a vet. Plus, those habits of careful observation, methodical note-taking, and evidence-based reasoning, they make you a better problem solver, period. Invaluable when you're troubleshooting milk quality, tackling repro challenges, or fine-tuning feed efficiency. So, this brings me to a crucial point, a call to rethink our approach. It's time for a really candid chat about how we teach and evaluate oral reasons. The tradition is valuable, no doubt, but we must ensure we're prepping students for the realities of modern dairy communication, not just for contest ribbons. So, I want you to ask yourself, whether you're a contestant, a coach, or just someone passionate about this industry, are your reasons truly reflecting what you saw, or are you kind of nudging observations to fit a pattern? Could you explain your dairy evaluation to someone completely outside our world in a way they'd understand and find convincing? Are you building transferable communication skills or just contest techniques? I want to challenge every single one of you, coaches, judges, contestants, to weave these practical exercises into your reasons practice. The 30-second elevator pitch. Deliver a super concise version of your reasons to someone with zero dairy background. Can you capture the essence of why your top cow won? Focusing on just one or two key functional advantages in the time it takes for an elevator ride. This hones your ability to be concise and impactful. The skeptical producer. Explain your placing to a producer who flat out disagrees with you. This builds your ability to persuade and handle pushback. No jargon allowed. Justify your evaluation without using any industry-specific terms. Can you make your case in plain language? The authenticity check. Record yourself, then listen back, critically. Do you sound authentic? Or like you're reciting a script? Our dairy industry needs professionals who can communicate effectively in all sorts of diverse contexts, not just those who shine in the admittedly artificial setting of a reasons room. By broadening how we practice and what we value in evaluation, we can better equip the next generation for true, real-world success, all while cherishing the valuable tradition of formal reasons. The next time you step into that reasons room, or you're coaching a young judge, remember this. The ultimate aim isn't just to perfect a 2-minute memorized speech. It's to develop the power to make sound decisions and communicate them persuasively, no matter the setting. That is the true legacy, the enduring value of the oral reasons tradition, and it's on all of us to make sure it stays relevant and powerful for generations to come. So my question to you is, how will you transform your approach to oral reasons to better prepare yourself or your students for real-world dairy industry communication? The answer to that might just define not only competitive success, but professional impact for years down the road. Thanks for tuning into the Bullvine podcast. Until next time, keep those conversations flowing and those standards high.